How long have you two been doing Space?
This is our first year at Space. I've heard about it for a long time, but this is our first year actually attending. It's pretty cool. It's cool to be at a convention where like the focus is on small press indie books instead of like
because
celebrities.
we're used to being at conventions where we started doing like these to get attention because it's hard to sell. We don't know. That's not Iron Man. That's not Deadpool. We don't want to look at
most
so it's like
bigger
you
conventions.
recognize.
Yeah, they're either there to meet a celebrity or they're there for people who do recognizable name brand characters.
So here it's nice to be like people that are actually looking for kind of what we do.
This is my first year at Space.
This is the first year I've been here because I'm from around south of Pittsburgh, and they don't let me out that much. So I escaped.
I think we started doing Space in 2010.
This is my first year. I've been trying to come here for like 5 years, but
this is my second year. Last year was my first convention ever, so I've amassed a catalog in a year to return with.
As long as I've been doing comics. It was my very first convention, and I've been every year since, so 11 years. And it might be 12. I think the first year I was here was 2004. So this would be year 12. It was 2015 now, so. Yeah.
This is our third year. This is actually my first year for Space, and it's been a really good experience.
I like it. There's a lot of people I haven't seen in years, and compared to some of the other conventions I've been to, it seems like there's a really good mix and a heavy emphasis on creator-owned and controlled stuff, which is awesome.
It's my favorite convention. I'm kind of nostalgic for it because, as I said, it's my first, so I feel a little loyalty to it, a little tradition maybe, but what I love about it is you don't have any of the media stuff like you would at any other kind of convention. You don't have B movie stars from Star Trek and stuff. Nothing against them. I like Star Trek, but it's nothing but just comic creators and some artists who aren't necessarily comic creators. But I just think it's amazing. It's like the best stuff. I always save my money to buy stuff at this convention versus any other because there's so much great stuff to get your hands on here.
The first time that we came to Space was 2 years ago. We weren't here last year, but as soon as they demolished that Saddam Hussein hotel that it used to be at, we decided to come back.
Yeah,
I like this show. Lots of cool exhibitors.
It's a great show in that there's like a ton of great people, but it's too big. There's too many exhibitors. Columbus can't support a show of this size.
Probably about 10 years now.
This was about a year ago. We started up, got some merchandise, found an artist at Space Convention from last year, and we've just been going ever since, going convention to convention.
Sawdust. Well, there's different kinds. You mean earthbound sawdust or like the Martian sawdust? Or there's sawdust they could be finding on Pluto that they haven't sent back yet, so we don't really know. I can't really give the exact thing. I don't know all the different varieties because there's a lot of sawdust out there. So you mean like sawdust from trees or rocks, salt? Out of those, I would have to say the kind that's dusty. Yeah.
3-day-old from the rain. I like the pongy smell that it can get, and I like seeing the hue of the color change, especially if the pile starts to dry near the top. I'm actually around sawdust a lot.
My favorite type of sawdust, cedar. It smells really good.
Pine.
Ooh, that's a good one. Hardwoods are nice, cherry is good. I'll go with cherry. Finally, like from sanding more so than sawing, but in the same vein.
Sawdust? I don't think I have a favorite type. Of sawdust? I don't think I have an answer for that one.
My favorite type of sawdust, I would say a good oak that was sanded down.
Sawdust. Pine.
My favorite type of sawdust. I would have to say the kind that's like a really fine powder that kind of gets into your pores and doesn't go away for days on end. No matter how hard you scrub your skin, you will always smell like a tool shed. That's the good stuff. I do, actually. I have a lot of experience with sawdust.
Sawdust. It would be a favorite quantity of sawdust because it would be the barrel, like that you have the scoop and you put it on the floor like at a circus or a zoo.
For pukes?
Puke management, any type of spilled fluids.
Sawdust? Isn't there only one kind? Is it the white kind you snort? I don't know.
Favorite type of sawdust? Oh, I really like cedar because it smells really nice and it reminds me of gerbils. And I really like gerbils, so that seems pretty. It seems like a good sawdust.
Brown?
None. Sawdust. Wheat.
I'm gonna go with none. I don't like sawdust.
Oak or the sawdust you get when you go to like a ribs place or I don't know. Any kind, I guess.
I don't know too many sawdusts, but I'd have to always go with the one that tastes the best, ground into ice cream format.
Not ice cream format.
More ice cream format.
My dad always did a lot of woodwork, so we always had a lot of sawdust just around. I mean, I don't want to say I'm very well versed in sawdust, but
sawdust expert.
I'm a sawdust expert.
Sawdust.
I do like oak, probably oak sawdust.
Is it
the
based
best.
on types of wood?
Maybe yes.
I'm gonna have to say balsa wood.
I like the sawdust that makes Home Depot smell like Home Depot. I could get that as like a candle. Pretty good.
Sawdust. I wasn't aware there were multiple types of sawdust.
I prefer coarse.
Who likes sawdust?
Apparently many people.
That's terrible.
What? What kind of lives are they living?
Do people
They like sneezing and needing to drink water?
Did they throw up and they need a bunch of sawdust to throw down?
Oh, I changed my answer. The janitor kind.
So, my main character is the mean goat. He basically likes to knock people off cliffs. It's a kind of running gag taken to the extreme. I have Uni the unicorn. He tries to help people, but does a lot of weird, sometimes disgusting things. You'll notice I have some unicorn poop here. It's kind of related. And I have some 24-hour comics and a sci-fi comic. So
I make these stories. They're about technologically advanced future warriors that battle evil across time and space. So it's pretty wild stuff. It's a lot of fun. I make all the characters, and the whole thing is it's nice because at the end of the day, it's my books. It's just wild stuff, and I would love to see it as a cartoon or something eventually. So something like that would be really cool.
I make Youth Pool, Night Harsher, Retro Force, and I do a design called The Morning Blaze. Youth Pool, Retro Force, and Night Harsher are just all the little characters that I made up since forever, living out their lives via comics. But I also tied into a public access television show that I filmed, and I have an augmented reality game that I've built with it. I've tried to create a dialogue of placing the books in specific places with other tokens and stuff around my town, which is Charlotte, North Carolina. And that's kind of the gist of my stories. One of the most driving force for me is to work with other artists and have something to swap out with other drawers, because I love drawing and I love drawings.
Okay, I do a bunch of stuff. I'm mostly known for Damn Hipsters, which is my webcomic that I've been drawing on and off for the past 5 years. I work for As You Were, which is Mitch Klim's anthology. It's amazing. I don't know why they put me in it, but it's really good. And I do a lot of other lighthearted stuff about cats and really heavy things about using comics to deal with mental illness. So, yeah.
Goofy comics, silly
Weird
comics,
comics.
weird stuff.
Surreal comics.
Odd, bizarre,
Non sequiturs.
rambling,
Scribbles.
doodles.
I guess in a general classification, it could be just independent comics, whatever comes out of our heads, so to speak. But it's not all comics. Some of it's more like just illustrating.
I'm the writer-creator of Zombie Overkill Death Squad. It's a zombie apocalyptic action adventure. Hit them hard, hit them fast, and don't let up until they're mush.
I have a series called The Ineffables, which I've been producing since 2001. Have assorted issues here. It's a science fiction, political satire, mystery adventure kind of series. At one point, I quit numbering them so that they could all be pretty much accessible. You can walk into any issue, and they're all self-contained. And then I also have a new series I've just started called Cosmo Simeon, which is about a time-traveling Soviet cosmonaut gorilla that fights space dinosaurs. I tell people it's about my relationship with my father.
I am actually the writer. I'm part of a two-part group. My fiance, Anne, does the art. We normally do queer and sex-positive and feminist comics.
I do 2 books myself that I write and illustrate. I do The Undad, which is an all-ages comic about a zombie father trying to raise his daughter. And then I do Teacher Strips, which is an autobiographical story about what it's like being a classroom teacher. Most of the stories are the things that kids do. Most of them are funny. Some of them are sad.
For sure, like this is the one we released most recently. It's our queer retelling of Cinderella, done entirely in traditional watercolors, and it's an absolutely beautiful book. It's now in the Library of Congress as an example of American comics, and it's a lot of we get a lot of teachers and parents that purchase it for kids to just sort of have a really cool introduction to queer lit.
I am writing and illustrating all of my own stuff, so I have New Here, which is my comic about an alien going to art school in Cleveland. And previously for Genghis Khan last year, I wrote Spiffy the Space Girl, which is a story about a space kind of mercenary that goes on a blind date. Kind of mundane, but it's set in space, so it's cool.
We both write and draw the Truth Dart series, which we've got 6 books.
Yeah, we have many now.
Yes. The newest of which is Laid to the Bone, which is like a 52-page adventure story of hanging out indoors.
It's a mega opus of like abandoning your friends so that 2 people can become ever closer. Like you sacrifice your second string friends so that the 2 best friends become even better and tighter. And it's kind of like the mundane moments of their like ever deepening friendship. But then also the strangeness that can come out of that.
I like to think I specialize in post-genre comics. That is, things that aren't easily defined by a word like superhero or horror or western or something like that. The books I've done, I'm probably best known for something called Lackluster World, which is the story of an albino man trying to change his world through a combination of journalism and vandalism or street art. But half the time he's fighting off his fanatically religious brother and sister who are desperately trying to convert him to Christianity. I call it Fight Club meets Office Space in Pleasantville.
We actually are not comic creators ourselves. We are a group for female and non-binary comic book readers and creators.
Mostly illustration stuff, kind of abstract, creepy, kind of visually pleasing looking art.
I like to do like editorial illustration stuff, so like trying to get an idea across.
I illustrate sci-fi, mostly anthologies, small stories, fantasy, and I do some like true to life comics. I do almost everything.
All kinds of comics. We make a comic every single month, so we're not too beholden to any particular genre or kind of comics. Although these guys both have ongoing series.
Mine is a kid-friendly sci-fi comic called Helperbot about helpful little robots.
And mine is a trilogy called Storm Signal, set in the post-apocalyptic near future.
Well, I do a lot, kind of a range. I haven't really figured out like one kind of comic that I like stick with. It just kind of like depends on what I really want to do at the time. I just don't really want to limit it to one thing, but I like to do like some like comedy comics, some like quieter like design oriented stuff, some mystery like horror stuff too, but that's kind of like where I hover around.
I'm definitely more focused on comedy than anything. I just think that's an interesting thing. Everyone's interested in comedy, like instead of it being like a very specific genre that people are into. So I definitely like sticking with that.
I like to do kind of more serious comics, but with a lot of like action and adventure, like to keep people interested. Like I love Game of Thrones, and I love stuff that kind of keeps you interested in like that. So that's the kind of stuff that I write.
I would say dark humor most of the time, like kind of twisted with a sense of humor.
We do various genres. Our main project's a Western, just because we're both into Westerns, so we do it. But like you said, we usually throw in dark humor in everything we do. But it's called Not Dark Yet. It's kind of a Tarantino-ish Western about a guy, he's on the run from his past mistakes, and they start to catch up with him. That's our main continuing title. We've got some various other projects. Our newest one that we're excited for is going to come out in later this fall. It's called Monster Wrestling Mayhem. Because we wanted something that's a real easy sell to people, and it's about monsters wrestling. So
it was an easy way to whore out to make money.
There is no tip that will make you better. There's nothing that is going to magically make you a comic creator or get you into comics. The only thing you have going for you is continuing to love what you do. If you lose the love for it, it's going to show. You'll be successful as long as you still love what you do. Like, asking other people, oh, how do I get into comics? Well, do you like comics enough to draw them on your own without somebody paying you? Congratulations, you're in comics. So yeah, that's my advice.
Just to keep making them. What's been most valuable for me progressing is just to keep throwing material out there. You improve the more you do. Over time, you look back on the stuff you did and hope no one looks at your new stuff. But
yes, absolutely. When you're a writer and you're looking for your artist, just be thorough. You want to make sure that you guys are compatible with each other, that the artist is able to understand all the steps and what your dream is, what your image is. But I would say that's the best one.
Printers, copy machines, small tables. I don't know. I think the important thing is to just do something. I know a lot of artists think about doing comics, and they kind of they draw little doodles and stuff, and they're like, someday I'm going to do a comic. Just do it. I mean, it's only as hard as you make it, I guess. So as hard as you work, it gets harder the harder you work, but at the same time, it's real simple to do a comic. So just make it.
Just keep swimming. That's all. Eventually you'll hit an island. Just keep swimming.
You gotta come original. You gotta be original and do it all the time.
Definitely work really, just do it, as we could all just say. It's definitely kind of figure out all the things that you could do with your art, and don't just copy other styles or other things that you've seen. Use stuff from your life, and you just experiment with different ways of drawing. Just figure out all the range of what you could do with yourself as a human being, and not just well, I've always liked it this way, so I'm going to always do it this way. I definitely say just branch out to all the ways you can do it. Just be hardworking and determined, and just work.
Absolutely, just jump right in. I know a lot of people that have ideas to start their own webcomic kind of thing, and they're always like, oh, I'm not good enough yet, or not enough people will be interested in it. I'll do it next year kind of stuff. If you just put it out there and you have that dedication in there, and that people will see your passion and they will follow it, and it's just gotta get out and do it.
Yeah. Comics is just a media. It's not superheroes. It's not horror. It can be anything that you want it to be. Don't feel like you have to be pressured into doing a certain thing when you get into comics. Do what feels right to you. Tell your own stories. Be free.
Just keep doing it.
I'm the wrong person to ask.
Yeah, just if you like it, just do it.
Yeah, don't stop. Just keep with it, regardless. Somebody tells you it's crap, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Glorifying the crapdom. Or if it's great, don't let that stop you either.
If it makes you happy, keep doing it.
I mean, just,
draw every day.
Yeah, your basic draw all the time. Take your sketchbook literally everywhere. Take it in the bathroom, I don't care, everywhere.
Do a lot of self-contained stories. Don't try to do one story and try to stretch it out to a whole bunch of issues. Do separate small stories to start off, and if you really got the narrative down, then you can do a whole long story.
You must just do it. It's very easy. Just draw draw, write, whatever you can do. Abuse whatever resources are available to you. If you go to college and you get free copies, or there's an unguarded printer in any of the rooms, wherever you're at the library, your dad's office, whatever the heck whatever you have access to, create comics from that, because it is a magical thing to create with a pen and a piece of paper, to create something that is this is something that you just drew and wrote, and now it's become a thing that people can buy and have in their home.
And to not get hung up on, I need the fine Bristol and the perfect brush and the rapidograph pens, like a Bic pen and some computer paper that you could steal from somewhere. You just have to get out and create a thing and be creative. And even if you're bad at it, which everyone is, which we are, it's better to do something and have that catharsis than to just be like, I'm not a creative person, so I'd never even tried. And that's one of the most horrifying things about culture and society, in my eyes, when I hear people say that. I'm not a creative person. Like, the difference between a creative person and an uncreative person is that a creative person thinks it's something they can practice and become better at, and the uncreative person just never tries in the first place. And it's horrifying that people wouldn't try, because the catharsis and the joy of not comics, but any creative thing is such a beautiful feeling.
I would just say make your own stuff. Just whatever it is, just make it. And if you're not sure if people are going to like it, who cares? You like it, and that's what's important, because passion is everything.
Just do it! Do